Hello and welcome to Fresh Perspectives. My name is Gail, and I'm very happy to have for a guest today one of the three owners of the Biodome project in Jamestown. Say hello to Clint Peyton.
Hi.
Hi, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on.
Let's start out by having you tell us something about yourself. Have you always lived in this area, or did you come from elsewhere?
Oh, no, I'm actually what I like to consider a transplant to the area. I grew up in the desert Southwest in North San Diego County.
Oh, wow.
In a town called Escondido. And I joined the Navy after high school in 2000 and just wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, so I thought that it would give me an opportunity. And I have family in the region, and I came to visit a couple times while I was serving on active duty. And I like the four seasons. I like the cost of living, and raising a family now, so it was very enticing for me to come back to the area and move here.
Oh, so do you get out to visit your folks very often then?
Well, part of the family that is here is my father and my stepmother live in Lakewood, so we do have some family, and my aunt lives down in Warren, so.
Oh, okay.
Some other family as well.
So you don't have to be too terribly far away from loved ones then. Okay. What was it that you did in the Navy? Was it you were a medic? Is that what you said?
Similar. I was a United States Navy corpsman, so I provided medical care to Marines all over the United States and elsewhere.
Oh, good. That's nice. And you have a dog. I know because I met your dog one time.
Yes, we rescued him in October. His name's Lucky. He's a little mixed breed small dog, and I consider myself just as lucky to have rescued him.
Oh, sure, yeah. I can't imagine life without pets. Now, how did you get involved in the Biodome project, and what is the Biodome project?
Well, we are an artisans market, art gallery, and plant shop located in Jamestown, in downtown Jamestown on 207 Pine Street. I initially started off as a vendor. I was making wood products, woodworking, mostly wood bowls on the lathe. And I started off as a vendor, like I said, and then I had the opportunity to become part owner. And because of the way the Biodome is set up, and just the general focus and where we now are going with the shop, it just was something that I was interested in and wanted to be a part of. Okay,
and this was one of the things that you made.
Yes, this is a bowl that I made, and this is just recycled lumber. Basically, it's hardwood. It's a European beech, this particular bowl, and it's kind of a way for me to kind of relieve stress and other things, and kind of decompress for life, if you will. And so then it was a way to try and share that art with other people as well.
Yeah, I was telling him before we came on the air that I need to introduce him to Jim and Ann Jackson from the Beaded Forest. It looks like they have quite a bit in common. Okay, so tell us, where can people find your business?
Well, as I mentioned, we're located on 207 Pine Street in downtown Jamestown, which is located between 2nd and 3rd Street. If you're familiar with the downtown area, otherwise it's easily identified on the map and easy to find. We're located in the same building as Jamestown Skate Products and the Sprinkle Cone Ice Cream Shop, which is a ice cream shop that provides locally produced ice cream, which is fantastic, and you know, from what my kids tell me. And then Jamestown Skate Products as well, which is a great skateboard shop. They make their own skateboards. They give lessons. They have a skateboard shop as well as a skate park upstairs. Do a lot of great things for the community as well.
Have you ever tried vegan ice cream?
I have not tried vegan ice cream. I didn't know there was such a thing.
Oh, actually. There is. Yeah, they make it out of things like almond milk and rice milk. And
I have tried rice milk in the form of horchata, which is the way Mexican culture prepares rice milk beverage. and then
Oh.
also almond milk, which is good. So
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I probably would enjoy vegan ice cream.
Oh, yes, I'm sure you would.
Enjoy
Okay.
most food.
Okay, so now let's talk about the seeds that you sell and why it is better to use heirloom and organic seeds than the other seeds.
Well, it is true. We do only carry heirloom and organic seed varieties at the Biodome Project, and we source them from Seed Savers Exchange as well as Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company. One of the reasons we do that is because organic seeds, so one of the differences is that organic is a certification from the USDA. It means that the seeds are not genetically modified and that they haven't been tampered with in any way. So that as well they've been certified as by the USDA as having not been messed with or anything. Heirloom is sort of like an old seed from past generations. Think of it like a family heirloom that gets passed down from one family to the next and generation over generation. Only it's seeds that have been saved from past crops. And part of the heirloom seed varieties, they have a lot of resilience to different things and stuff, as well as the diversity of seeds. You have a bigger diversity. Most of the newer varieties have been narrowed to fewer varieties of each crop, whereas you can find thousands of different seeds. We have a seed catalog from one of the seed producers that we source from, and we can get, I think, close to 3,000 varieties of seeds
Wow.
from that one seed company.
Wow, that's a lot. Who would have ever thought that there were so many different ones that you can get?
We don't carry that many at the Biodome Project because we specifically source seeds that are going to be, more prevalent for the area. We're not going to have really long season seeds available because we don't have a long season to grow out here. So we try to find stuff that'll accommodate our short season and colder temperatures.
Oh, yeah. My husband in recent years has taken to growing a form of heirloom beans called cattle beans. You know, they're the dried kind of beans. You let them grow and they get all puffed up. And then you take them out of the shells and put them in a food dehydrator for a certain amount of hours and then use them as your dried bean source. I don't know why they're called cattle beans. Have you heard of them?
I have not.
They're kind of like white with really pretty rose-colored speckles all over them.
I'll have to look that up. I haven't actually seen that particular variety. We do carry some called Dragon's Tongue that are similar but different color pattern. And there's so many varieties. That's the good thing about the heirloom and organic seed varieties is that there's just so many to choose from that, and they, a lot of them have great color to them and other things, and just different health components as well. But we do carry quite a selection of different types of beans, both for eating fresh and then also for drying and saving, as you mentioned.
And you can save seeds to replant the next year is the beauty of heirloom seeds, the heirloom variety vegetables and fruits and things. Whereas the genetically modified ones and like that, you can't.
That's right. In fact, we encourage people to save seeds, and we do have a little bit of literature available at the shop if folks are interested in learning how to save seeds on their own, and we have packets that Seed Savers Exchange provides to us that we give away if people want them, and they just allow you to save your seeds. They're little seed pouches that you can save your seeds and label them and everything for the next season. Or you can come in, if it's something you're not interested in, we always have new seeds available for the season, as well as starter plants.
Yeah, I think I remember the first time I met you was last April at the Home and Garden Show that was held in downtown Jamestown. And when I saw that you had heirloom seeds, I was with my husband and I said, Carl, we have to get some of these seeds because they're heirloom seeds. So, so that was fun. I noticed the string beans were a whole different texture than than the ones that the string bean seeds you would normally buy. That when the string beans were full grown, they actually seem to take longer to cook. Or, like when you're steaming them or whatever, they stayed crunchy.
Yeah, a lot of the varieties that you see in stores of the different produce options, they're kind of narrowed, and they're picked based on their ability to transport long distances and be shelf stable for long periods of time. So you have very few varieties to choose from. So everybody's used to seeing the very, very same couple of different things for each, whether it's a tomato or a bean or something. You get 2 or 3 options, at best in a lot of places. Whereas with the heirloom and organics, you tend to have more varieties to choose from. And some of these are just, they're so old, and they're just, it's the unique part about it. And that's kind of what's fun about, eating those things and growing them, is that you do get to see some of those different unique characteristics that
Right.
and the shapes and the colors and the patterning and everything. It's just it's an art in itself that's just natural nature made.
Yeah, you were talking before we started recording here. You were talking about how it's one of the other guys, one of the other owners said something about it's like a family heirloom that you pass the seeds down from generation to generation.
Yeah, it's a fun way of kind of remembering how heirloom seeds came about and why they're important. Just like a family heirloom that you would consider to be important if somebody passed it to you, and you would want to continue passing that on and holding it sacred to your family. That's kind of how those seeds are. And they're very sacred to a lot of families and a lot of cultures that, families of farmers that have been farming, and that was their livelihood. And those seeds meant a lot to them, and they continue to mean a lot to us, as well as the future generations who will, hopefully be nurtured by these seeds and the plants.
Okay, I'm going to move along here. I wanted to sort of recommend a book that I've been reading by Jane Goodall entitled Harvest for Hope, A Guide to Mindful Eating. And this kind of fits in with the heirloom and organic versus genetically modified foods. And it was very disturbing, something that I read in this book, that big corporations like Monsanto, they develop these genetically modified seeds and things, and they go out and plant them, but then some of the stuff gets blown over onto other people's crops that aren't using the same thing. And what happens is Monsanto has patents on their seeds and things, and they send out spies to take DNA samples from neighboring farms, and then they sue the other farmers for patent infringement. So I find that really very disturbing. Do you know any more about this that you could mention? You've probably heard of this somewhere along the line.
Yes, I have actually. After separating from the Naval Service, one of the things I discovered was that I wasn't going to be able to continue working in the medical field, which is what I was doing, and so I retrained through some veteran sustainable agriculture training on an organic farm, certified organic farm, and it was a seed to market program, so it covered a lot of different components of the agricultural and food industry. And one of the things that was brought up was that very thing, and it's kind of disturbing to think about that and think about entering the field of farming, knowing that this big corporate farm might plant something near your farm that's open pollinated as the wind blows,
right?
Contaminate your farm as far as they're concerned by simply becoming, cross-pollinating with your stuff, and then being able to sue you as a result. When all you're trying to do as a farmer
is is to grow your
to
own
grow
crops.
food and provide, not only a living for yourself, but food for your community. And so it's very disturbing that can take place, but local family farms can't afford the financing of, big-time lawyers that are going to be able to fight something like that.
Right.
And so they pretty much end up losing their farms most of the time, I'm sure. And I don't know anybody personally that has been caught up in that.
That's because the big corporations want to control the food supply. They want to make all the money, basically, is what it amounts to. I don't know, it's probably not really common knowledge that, like if when they develop seeds, genetically modified seeds, that are pest resistant, I think what a lot of people don't know is that the way they do that is by taking DNA from the pesticides and incorporating them directly into the plant. And then another thing that I've heard about was plants that are made to be resistant to weed killers, so that they can spray things, is a 2,4-D, I think it is, that was known at the time of the Vietnam War as Agent Orange.
Oh, the DDT.
That they want to be able to spray on the weeds growing among their crops. And so it's not a very safe way of eating, really, when you think of it, with all of the toxins that are involved.
No, I think you're right, and more I feel that it's just becoming harder and harder to control those pests with the chemicals, and you see increasingly that they're having to raise the amount of chemicals that they're spraying
because the pests are
they're developing resistance.
Developing a resistance, yeah.
Yep. And then also you have issues which are constantly being identified by the Watershed Conservancy about runoff from these fertilizers and chemicals and stuff that are getting into the waterways, and they're damaging the ecosystems of the fish, and that's not something that you have a domino effect from that. So even people who aren't involved in agriculture but maybe love to fish, well, if there's not that many fish because they're dying off because of this or that, that becomes a problem that affects more than just farmers, and that's I think what a lot of people just don't really think about when they're looking at something like, oh well, they're spraying chemicals on the plants. Well, we're not farmers, we don't. It's something that people need to realize that it's connected bigger than just that individual farm. It's
my personal belief that as far as the pollinating insects like the honeybees, that there's been such a big decrease in the population of the beneficial insects like that too, are being poisoned by a lot of these things.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there is more and more suggested evidence that the sprays and the chemicals and the pesticides, are contributing to the colony collapse disorders and all these things that are affecting the bees that are pollinating, which are having a huge, which will have a huge impact on your overall harvests for the crops and the different stuff. And one of the other things is that there has been studies done with the organic versus non-organic. Rodale Institute down in Pennsylvania did a 30-year farming systems trial where they grew the same crops side by side, and they determined at the end of that farming systems trial that the organic practices outperformed. They outperformed. They initially didn't do as well as with the chemical intensive stuff because they were fortifying the soil as they were building it up. Once the first few years went by, then not only did the organic stuff outperform, but during times of drought and during times where they were having issues with other stuff, then they performed even better. And that's something that's readily available. You can go to Rodale Institute and find that out. And it's just information anybody can read for themselves so that they can see that that's not just something somebody said. They did a long and enduring trial on that. So there is proof that the organic way is better. And for small farmers especially, it's more profitable for the organic prices of stuff.
Okay, there was there's this DVD that I watched, and I think it's actually something that's been shown on television in the past too, on PBS or something like that, where I think it was in China when Chairman Mao was in power there, and he didn't like the sparrows or something like that. But anyway, he ordered all of these birds to be shot. Well, that caused a problem because the birds weren't there eating the insect pests. There came to be an overpopulation of insect pests. So pesticides were used to kill off all the bugs. Well, in the process, they killed off all of the pollinating insects. And now, for their fruit trees, people have to hand pollinate all of the fruit trees.
Wow.
So that's pretty disturbing right there, that something like that can happen.
And there's always a cause and effect with that stuff, and I think that's where people don't think about, and it's something that, you know, your book is about mindful eating, and it's just that mindfulness of what you're doing and how it's affecting the other ecosystems and the other species around you, because we're not the only ones.
Yeah, we vote with our wallets, don't we?
Absolutely, and that's exactly it, you know, because there's a lot of externalized costs for things being very inexpensive, or you know, whether it's giant corporate farms getting government subsidies that come from tax dollars, which no small farms get unless they're getting a loan or a grant. You know, they don't just get these subsidies, and so they artificially lower the prices of stuff to make it seem like it's a better deal and a better option.
Yeah, and another thing is the medical costs for people that are eating the foods that have these toxic substances to them. I mean, there's a lot of foods that you cannot take. You cannot take a fruit and vegetable wash and get the poisons off because it's been absorbed all the way through the food. Like there's a list of what they call the dirty dozen fruits and vegetables, where it's saturated all through, like celery and peaches and apples and strawberries and several other items that you're not going to be able to get most of the poison off of them, and you're going to be eating it. So it winds up adding to medical expenses also when people eat the non-organic foods.
It absolutely does, and when you really think about it, an easy way that I find to look at the comparison is that there's a lot of local waterways and a lot of fishing going on in this region. But if you look at the guides, they tell you that some of the fish that you catch, you cannot eat. You cannot eat more than one meal per month or something. Or for women that are between 15 and 50 or something like that, they tell you not to eat it at all. No matter what size it is, because they've been eating these toxins and they've been building up, and they've been or fish have been eating other fish that have been eating the toxins, and this magnified process.
When they get inside the animals, the fish or whatever other kinds of animals, then it actually increases once it gets inside the animals' bodies, is what I've heard, especially the fish.
Well, and absolutely. And so and they're eating these things, and they're increasing the numbers of these things that they're eating, whether it's from eating other fish or from these toxic substances in the water. And if you were to think about that same perspective and apply it to what we are eating, and the kinds of foods that we're eating, well, whether it's foods that are soaked in pesticides or whether it's processed foods that have so many preservatives and chemicals put into them, we're essentially doing the same thing to our own bodies. We're putting in all this stuff that's just building up and magnifying, and I mean, and then you look at the correlated health effects and our own population and how many health problems we have, and the cost of those health problems, which is huge. You know, and having spent a decade in the medical field and worked for fantastic doctors that were very good at pointing out the correlation between the food that you eat and the health benefits or the lack of health benefits you have corresponding to that. And it seems to be pretty clear if you really think about it.
Oh, yeah. My husband bought a DVD someplace that was made by Neil Young, the musician from Canada. And he did a bunch of songs that were basically against this kind of farming, you know, that he believes it's wrong. It's a really interesting DVD. But you know, it's I really like to see people that are famous like him, you know, coming out and trying to let people know what's really going on. I saw a book like this one here. If I see a book I think I want to read, I'll go to used book sales at the library, and hopefully I'll find them eventually, you know, there for $1.50 or something. And there's one book that I think I'd like to read that I saw on the bookshelf at the Chautauqua bookstore a couple of years ago, and the title was The World According to Monsanto.
I can only see how that one might go.
Yeah, I hope I get to read that one sometime. Well, anyway, I guess it's time to move along and talk about your vendors. You have vendors that you sell their products in your store, and you try to mainly have it be mostly local vendors, so that you're selling products that are made in Chautauqua County.
That's correct. We so one of the things that we do in the shop is we rent shelf space out to local artists and vendors of different things. So we have folks that are making soaps, candles, woodworking, all kinds of different stuff, locally made clothing and accessory items, jewelry, as well as locally sourced farm and food products. So we carry local meats from local farms, eggs, maple syrup, honey, and then other prepared food, not prepared foods. We don't actually prepare any foods ourselves. We just sell the foods that are already shelf stable and ready to go. But we do have we have a selection of stuff here that I have brought to show you that includes this ceramic dish here from our ceramic artist that's a vendor in our shop named Pam Gifford, and she's got a variety of different items as well.
That is very beautiful.
And this is just a...
and it's probably lead-free and all that?
I believe so, and I know that it's microwave and dishwasher safe.
Okay.
And we have her information as well. So
are those pieces of glass that are...
no, those are actually glazed, and so
those
she
are glazes.
just takes
okay.
the... And she does a lot of different types of stuff, so that's just one example of the work that she does. This box here is a father and son woodworking team that they carve these intricate tops on the stuff here.
That is beautiful, that tree.
Yep, and they do other items as well. They do cabinetry. They do a lot of custom work. Again, this is...
so people can hire them to do work in their homes.
Absolutely, and we have the contact information for all of our vendors. So if there's something that maybe somebody is looking for a unique gift idea for a loved one or a friend or family member or something that they just want something that's a little bit different or something customized, that we can reach out to our vendors and put them in contact with that particular artist or crafter, and then they can go about that as well.
Oh, okay.
So some of these, this is an item from Doolittle Custom Engraving, and so what it is a recycled bottle that they etch these designs into.
Oh,
this
it's a
particular
recycled
one
bottle?
is Peek and Peek, and it's got the coordinates of Peak and Peak written on it, and a young lady skiing.
Now, what do they do? Just cut off the top part of the bottle then? Or?
I'm not exactly sure on their entire process, but this is just one item that they do. They also make engraved stones and all sorts of different stuff. And again, they can do custom work as well. So if there's an item that you want to get, or one of the things they do is if you own your own home and you want to get a stone that's got your address coordinates on it, and they can put your name and your coordinates and stuff, and it's kind of a neat thing for that. But like I said, they can do lots of different stuff with there.
And then you had, when you first arrived, you had the glass inside of this?
Yeah, that's just a hand-knit patriotic koozie there to keep your beverages warm or cold, or just keep it from... and that fits a standard size water bottle or small glass or a can. Yep, that's the size for a can or a water bottle. But we have koozies for wine bottles, as well as similar type items that are hand sewn for keeping your dishes warm after they come out of the microwave or after they come out of the hot bowl of soup or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Lots of different hand knit stuff. We've got kids beanies and hats.
That is cute.
We've got everything from handy items for your house. We've got a soap sack, so you put your bar of soap in there and you use it like a washcloth.
Oh yeah.
And then these are a new addition, and then these are just Swiffer pads. And these are convenient.
Swiffer pads?
Swiffer for like the sweeper. It's a Swiffer sweeper, and it's an item that a lot of people have in their kitchen.
I know what you mean.
I have one in my house.
Reusable ones.
Absolutely. So it allows you to just wash it instead of throwing it away.
You can wash it, and you can just throw it in the
yeah, you just throw it in the laundry
machine
and clean it up, and then you're not having to continuously replace those, which they add up quite a bit over time. And you can, it's quick. You get two of them. You can have one for sweeping, one for mopping, and there you go.
Wow.
So this hat here, this is a local artist, Angela Callie, and Plant Life Clothing. So so she takes her artwork and she has it printed on garments. And so she has lots of different stuff available in the shop. This is just one example of one of her garments, but she gets American-made garments. She has them printed locally by a local print shop, and so it's just continuing the cycle. It's keeping that, keeping stuff local, whether it's having it printed local or where the garments are sourced from.
Now you have some really beautiful.
This is a shirt.
Wearable art in your store.
Yep. So this is one of those wearable art pieces, and this is a batik shirt, and so this is layers of dyeing and wax crayon, basically to kind of create this unique design, and these are all recycled garments, and she can also do custom work. We have her information.
Oh, you mean by recycled? You mean they're gently used clothing?
They are. She brings them to an all white start. So. And then she goes through the process of layering the dyes, and I'm not exactly sure on the entire process of it. Just know that it's a series of dyeing and waxing of the stuff.
Well, I did some reading about the toxins used in the manufacture of clothing and other textiles, and there's quite a bit apparently. And one of the recommendations is, as much as possible, to buy used clothing, because it's been probably washed several times before you buy it in a thrift store or whatever. And so a lot of the toxins have been washed out of the clothing.
The garment industry itself is one of the most heavy for water pollution, and stuff. So, and it's just something else that goes under the radar and most people don't know about. But it's just one of those things. And there's enough clothing out there that, why not recycle a shirt?
Right. I like to buy clothing at thrift stores, I have to admit.
I find that if I buy used T-shirts, then I have more money for other stuff that's more important than a T-shirt.
Right. You have speaking of T-shirts, you have one underneath the.
I do, and this is another locally printed shirt, and this is iconic to Jamestown specifically because the Crescent Wrench was initially produced and manufactured in Jamestown. So it's another
So
little bit of history.
Jamestown was the first place that ever manufactured the Crescent Wrench?
Absolutely, and there's the original building that it was manufactured in has a little plaque on it and everything, so it's a little bit of history involved there. And then I've got a couple seeds here, so we've got
Oh, yes.
basically the two different seed companies that we carry. So we have the Seed Savers Exchange here and then Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company, and this is just an heirloom squash variety called a Tennessee sweet potato squash, and that's
Oh, yeah.
basically what it looks like, even though it's not an actual photo.
It actually has the look of a melon, doesn't it?
It does,
To see the picture there.
And then we carry these little seed tin collections from Seed Savers, and these are just kind of nice little gift ideas. And then also, this is one for pollinators. So this has just different seed packets in it that are going to be for the bees and the different pollinators, bees and butterflies primarily. And again, we carry a huge variety of.
You carry food.
We do.
Yeah. Now, when I saw you at, you want to tell us what you were doing at Chautauqua during the Christmas season?
Yes, in fact, we had been invited, and we were very, very pleased to have been able to go up there and proud to represent the shop up there, and as part of the Winter Village that had taken place over the winter here. It was the first time it had happened, and it was a good opportunity to get up there and meet with people and just promote the shop and just kind of let people know what we were doing, yeah.
Well, you had some really delicious looking noodles up there. Really fat ones that I couldn't resist getting a package of, and took them home, and they were really yummy. Do you want to tell us about that particular company? That one's in Buffalo, though, right?
It is, yes. That's actually the Gondola Macaroni Company, and they're a third-generation Italian family on the west side of Buffalo, and they're still hand-making noodles on equipment that the grandfather made. So we first found their noodles at Tuscany Market in Fredonia, so we found out about them through a local business in Chautauqua County as well. And they have a terrific product. They have the dry noodles, but we also carry raviolis as well, a couple different flavors, and it's just great to support. They have lots of different flavors of it. Like I said, they're locally made. They're a little bit outside of Chautauqua County, still regionally local, and they just provide such a great quality product.
And you said
my
that
daughter would basically eat the cheese raviolis every night if given the opportunity, with nothing but the noodles and just the raviolis, no sauce,
raviolis. Well, yeah, you said that if you go to the place where they manufacture them, that you can actually watch them making the noodles then.
That's right. Yeah, they have a viewing window, basically in the shop portion that you can look into the room that they actually make this stuff, and it's pretty cool. I got to see them doing some stuff with noodles one of the times that I was up there, and it's interesting because I didn't grow up around an area where there was any kind of homemade noodles, and until I had those ones in particular, I had only ever just had the
store-bought
regular mass-produced
noodles.
Spaghetti noodles, yes.
Well, we really did enjoy those noodles. They were really good. You had nut butters in the store, I remember. It's so nice these days that you can get not only peanut butter anymore, but you can get cashew butter and almond butter and walnut butter, and
right.
you can sesame tahini made out of sesame seeds, and sun butter made out of sunflower seeds. And
oh yeah, and that's one of the things we try and do is we have been trying to promote healthier eating and eating more locally and minimally processed foods and stuff, but as well we're trying to focus and have a healthier alternative for some of the stuff that's out there. And so with those nut butters, we have different flavors of peanut butter, but we also have for alternatives for those that have nut allergies. So some people might have a peanut allergy or a tree nut allergy, but they might be able to eat the sunflower seed butter. And then likewise for vice versa.
there's a lot of people that are allergic to peanut butter.
There is, and I feel like allergies are becoming more and more prevalent in our society, and I think that it also
has something to do with the unethical
right.
food manufacturing process.
I can't confirm, but
You're suspicious.
I'm suspicious.
You're
yeah.
suspicious.
But yeah, it gives people an alternative and something to just something else.
Now you have macrame items like plant hangers and things like that too in your store.
We do. We have a variety of plant growing supplies, which include everything from, lights, fertilizers. We do have the seeds. We have and all the stuff we carry is organically certified. We start starter plants and certified organic potting soil from coast of Maine. We have a variety of house plants. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then you carry personal care products that are made by local people also.
We do, and that, as I mentioned before, we have soaps and candles, but we have other stuff as well. We have skin moisturizers and different things of that nature, beard oils, all sorts of stuff, antiperspirants, just stuff that's made with just more natural ingredients. Some of the stuff is just minimally processed, and then other stuff is, again, alternatives to some of the way certain things are already processed. So.
Yeah, a lot of people are making personal care products now, I've noticed. Lip balms, too, is another thing. There's this one vendor that usually comes to the Arts and Crafts Show in the Village Park in Westfield every summer, and I always try to go over and look for her because one of the scents that she uses is that in, like, her moisturizers and soaps and things is the champa oil.
I'm not familiar with that
Champa, it's the same scent that's used in making the Nag Champa incense. And I just love that scent, so I always go looking for her so that I can get some of the Champa scented things. Did you have some candy in there too?
Well, we do have we have some stuff from a local repacking company, the Basket Company, and they provide a lot of candy and snack products to various businesses throughout the county, and they have a lot of great selection of stuff. Everything from all chocolate, which is great, to healthier snacks that are just a variety of stuff. As well, we carry Reach Snacks, which is a nice in-between. It's got a little bit of chocolate and a nice granola truffle, and they're delicious. But yeah, we carry a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and we're always kind of looking for new vendors that are either producing food products or artwork, art goods, craft good, things of that nature.
So how can people get a hold of you if they'd like to be a vendor in your shop?
Well, we have our information on the web. So our website address is just www.biodomeproject.com. Our email address is thebiodomeproject@gmail.com, which the website does not have the in front of it. And then we're located on 207 Pine Street in downtown Jamestown.
So they could even just stop in also.
Absolutely.
What are your hours at the store?
So our hours are Wednesday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and then Saturday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. We do open up during different times for accordingly around holiday times frames. Sometimes we'll open up a little bit longer and for certain events, and we'll try and coordinate and try and be open when there's different events going on downtown and such to just accommodate people that are going to be downtown. And then our phone number is 716-450-9139. So we can be reached there. As well, we're on social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, where we can be reached as well, and we try to reach out and do more with that.
Is it just those of you that are the owners that actually work in the store, or do you have any other employees?
No, that is correct. It's just we're owner run currently. Hopefully we can grow and have the opportunity to have some employees who would free up some time, because we do try to stay busy with stuff, and we've been trying to participate in more events. We've been trying to have more of a presence at the downtown Jamestown public market, which is the farmers market for Jamestown during the summertime, as well as the garden show, which is where we first met at the Grow
Right,
Jamestown Garden
right.
Fair, which will be coming up here probably at the beginning of April time frame at the ice arena there at the Jamestown.
Right, right. And then I just happened to run into you again at Chautauqua, and we were having a conversation, and all of a sudden I realized that, oh, I should have you on. I have a television program. Would you be on it sometime? So, so that was pretty interesting. Now, do you have any other products that we didn't mention, or have we pretty much covered everything?
Well, like I said, this is just a very small selection of some of the stuff that we have. We have a very diverse selection of stuff. I mean, we have a lot of larger stuff. We have really large artwork pieces, so if people are interested in getting some artwork for their house, we have furniture pieces as well from a woman who reupholsters stuff and different stuff. We
you
have.
mean, does she buy second-hand furniture and reupholster?
She does. She gives new life to older furniture.
Oh, okay.
And
is she somebody people can hire to do reupholstering for them for furniture that they already have?
I would imagine so. I would have to get a hold
You'd
of her.
have to
and
ask
yeah.
her, yeah.
But we do have, like I said, most of the vendors that we work with and they are represented in our shop do custom work, and so a lot of them will be willing to work with individual customers and work on that. And then we have, like I said, we have lots of different food products. We have a gentleman who runs Chautauqua Local Foods, which is a local food service provider. They, during the produce season, put together baskets for families who want delivered stuff to their house, and so you can sign up for a basket delivery and that kind of thing. And then we also carry products in our shop, and so that includes stuff from the Grape Growers Co-op in Ripley, squash seed oils, local stuff from Aber's Acres, which includes dried beans and different products that they have. We have stuff from the Green Heron Growers, For Pete's Sake Homestead, and those include different meats and shiitake mushroom products. And so we have a lot of different stuff, and we're ever expanding. We're always looking for new vendors, as I said. And one of the big things is just to promote the local food system, so which includes supporting local farmers and local food producers. And those tax dollars stay within the county primarily, so that's helping the local economy as well.
Yes, it is. I'm going to have you explain to people why it would be best as much as possible to buy local from local people.
Well, like I mentioned earlier when we were talking about the agriculture stuff, I think that a lot of things that people don't realize is there's externalized costs that you don't see on a daily basis when you're thinking about low costs for stuff, and whether it's applied to giant corporate big box stores that are getting tax subsidies to exist, or whether they're just not paying employees a decent wage. Their employees don't get medical health care, so then they're resorting to working full time and still not being able to get health care, and then they have to go to other resources for having those benefits provided to them, so and those are part of the reasons why these things are so cheap to buy, whereas when you look at local farms, well, they have to provide all that stuff to themselves. They have to provide their own health care, their own and so they have to sell a product that's a little bit more because they have to accommodate those things, so they're not getting all these handouts and stuff from the government, and in order to make their operations more successful on a small level, like these giant companies.
Oh, right. Right.
And again, local businesses and local producers of goods, they're paying local taxes. They're buying things locally. They are, they're going to these other different spots. And so it's stimulating the local economy in a way that shopping at X or Y big box store would not. And I think that's it's something that slowly people are realizing. And it's goods that are made by other Americans. There are other people in the community. They're, you can see somebody that's got a product that you made, or that you're wearing something that somebody else made, or.
Yeah. So, okay, what kind of advice would you give to other people who would be interested in starting a worthwhile business, as far as starting a business of their own, a worthwhile one?
Well, that's kind of a tough question because it's hard. It's perseverance, I guess, is a big thing. You know, you have to know that anything worth having takes time. You know, and if you want instant gratification and you want an instant success story, then it may not happen like that. And so you have to realize that. And if it's really something that you are passionate about, then stick with it. And just don't waver on it, I guess. But we're still growing. We're still trying to make it happen, and garden. So come to the Biodome project and get your starter plants from us in the starter plant sale in the springtime, and do some gardening, get dirty, and enjoy life, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we're down to a little more than 6 minutes here. Is there any other thing that you would like our viewing audience to know during the remaining time?
Well, I know I can speak for myself, but I am certain it's on behalf of the entire shop that we appreciate everybody who does come into our shop. We appreciate the vendors. We thank and appreciate everybody in the community that supports our efforts and can see what we're trying to do and how we're trying to be a part of the community, not just take it and run and try and make a quick buck and then go somewhere else. We're trying to stabilize and be a foundational part of the renovation and the renewal of Jamestown, which is a great thing, and there's a lot going on. There's a vibrant energy, I guess you could say, that's going on, and there's a lot of people that really want to see good things happen in the area, and I love being a part of it personally. I felt a strong sense of community when I was in the service, and even people who come from different backgrounds and don't get along, you have a higher purpose, which is just getting the job done, and you have that camaraderie and stuff, and that's what community needs. That they need that coming together and people just helping out and trying to make it work. And that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, when I was in the store over at Chautauqua where you were back in December, it was really nice because we had a really nice conversation. It was not a very good weather day, and there weren't many people over
very
there
cold.
over there that day, as I remember it. And at the time I was in the shop, it wasn't until I was leaving that some more people happened to walk in, but you and I had a really nice conversation, and it's really nice to be able to go into a shop and have a conversation and feel like you're being made to feel like you're talking to somebody who's your friend, and they can explain everything you want to know about any products that you inquire about or anything. And I actually had a lot of fun having that conversation with you that day, and your dog was with you and greeted me at the door. And what is his name again?
His name is Lucky.
Lucky. Oh, that's right. Lucky to be adopted, probably. Yeah. And so it's a fun place, and I imagine your shop is a lot bigger, the one that you have in Jamestown.
A little bit. There's a basement, so we have more space for other stuff, and we grow plants, and we have more plant stuff going on. But what we had up at Chautauqua was very similar to what our main store is. We just it's roughly the same stuff, just a little bit more of it.
Yeah. Now, the day that I was there at Chautauqua was the Saturday before Christmas. You said you were going to be there the following weekend also. And I remember I was thinking about you the following Saturday because that was the day that we had huge amounts of snow. Do you remember that? Did you manage to make it up there that day? I did go come up to the studio here to interview the president of hospice, and she had driven up here all the way up from Bemis Point, and it was probably not very brilliant of us. In the amount of time, we'd gotten an awful lot of snow overnight, and in the amount of time that we were here at the studio for the interview and so forth, I had to clean there was 6 more inches of snow had accumulated on top of my car. That's how bad the weather was, and I was kind of wondering if you managed to get up there that day.
I fortunately did not have to brave the weather to get up to Chautauqua that following weekend. I was working at the Jamestown shop. We did have that shop opened up, but yeah, it was definitely a significant amount of snow in a short period of time.
Did one of the other guys go up that day?
It did, yeah.
Oh gosh.
But you just drive slow and
Take your
you know,
time.
take your time. Yeah, give yourself plenty of time to drive safely in the conditions and dress warm.
I was wondering about that. Both the president of hospice and I were dressed in ankle-length coats with hoods that we had up over our heads and everything, you know. So it was. I think that was probably the worst weather day of the whole winter. But
I think we've had a few days that were colder, but definitely not the cold with the snow. Thankfully.
Yeah, it was really pretty wild that day. Obviously, you're doing something that's very important down there, and I'm glad that you're doing it. And I'm so glad that you were able to be on the program today. I really appreciate that.
Like I said, thank you for the opportunity to be able to be here with you, and we it's been great.
Yeah, it really has. Okay, well, maybe we can have you on again sometime if you have some other things that come up.
That'd be great, yeah.
Okay, I'll see the rest of you in a couple of weeks.